Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to explain to you what are the global secondary indexes in DynamoDB, and I will show you how to create one. To make things more clear, we will be working on a concrete example. So, before moving to AWS console, let's hear the background story. Imagine that we are developing the note-taking app. In the app, a user may create a simple note and assign it to a category. Besides content and category, each node will have a date of creation. If we think about it from a relational database perspective, it's a simple one-to-many relation. But how can we model this in DynamoDB to allow for all create, read, update, and delete operations? There are a few possibilities, and I will show you one. We can create structure called item collection. In the item collection, we use the composite primary key. The partition key is useful for fetching the subset of records. In our example, it will be an email and it will allow for fetching all nodes of a specific user. Then the sort key will add the possibility to uniquely identify the item. In our case, it will be the date of creation. So, knowing the email of the user and the date of the creation, we will be able to update or delete the node. To read users' nodes, we will need only the user's email. This way, we can fulfill all access patterns for CRUD operations. But I have said that the nodes have the categories, right? How can we fetch users' nodes by a category? With the current model, it's hardly doable. We could fetch all nodes and then filter programmatically by a category, but that's far from an optimal solution. So, there is a place for a global secondary indexes. The GSIs extends the Dynamo table of a new access patterns. GSI has the same structure as the primary key. You can define a partition key and optionally add a sort key, but you can use another item's attributes for that. Under the hood, DynamoDB copies your items and saves them in reshaped formula to allow you to query them with the same speed. Moving back to our example. To access the user's nodes by a category, firstly, we have to know the user's email. So the partition key will be the same, but as a sort key, we will set the categories attribute. This way, we will be able for querying the another items collection. Before we will move to AWS console, please keep in mind two things. Firstly, the GSI is made only for read operations. You cannot use it to update any data. If you have to update something, use table's primary key. Secondly, you can create finite number of indexes. Currently, the limit is equal to 20 GSIs. Now is the time to see an example of how to create GSI. Here, I'm logged in AWS console. I'm in DynamoDB service in tables section. There is only one table created. This is our nodes table. When I click on the Explore Items button, you can see that I have added the example data. There are only 4 items already, but it's enough to show you how it works. Currently, I can only invoke the query by a primary key. I have to use the user's email and optionally date of node creation. But I'd like to query by a category as well. So, to add a new GSI, click on Update Settings button on the left-hand side menu. Then, under the Actions, pick Create Index option. Then, you will be redirected to Create Index form. In the form, we have to set primary key of the index. This time, it will be the user's email as a partition key and category as a sort key. We also have to set the index name. We will use it in the query, so it's a good idea to have a descriptive name for an index. I will name mine the category index. Then, we have to set the read capacity units and write capacity units for index. There is an option to copy them from base settings. I will click on a custom setting just for a showcase. As you can see, settings are the same as for regular table. There is a minimum and maximum number of units and there is a monthly utilization as well. I will go with the copied settings. For a write, I will also leave the same settings. Then you can see the estimated costs for the index. For 5 capacity units, it costs only about $3. Finally, in the last section, we have a projection setting. When creating an index, we can decide what attributes of our item we want to include in our index. Sometimes, when we're querying by the index, we don't need all of the attributes. So we can pick from options like all, only keys, and include options. All means we copy all of the attributes. Only keys means no other attributes than the primary key will be copied. Finally, for include, we have to manually set which attributes to copy. Include is the most flexible option. In our example, we want to have the all attributes copied. That's it. These are the all settings we have to set. Let's click the Create Index button. Creation of the index will take a few minutes, so I will pause here and I will go back when the index is created. Great, now the index is ready to use. We can click on the Explore Items button. Then, when we click on the query, we can pick the index instead of the notes table. So, let's check if we can fetch the Adrian Smith shopping notes. Yes, it works. The 2 records are fetched. Good job. In this video, I showed you how to create the index on existing table, but it is worth to mention that you can also create the indexes during the table creation. The procedure is the same, so you won't have the problems with that. I hope this was helpful to you. Thanks for watching and see you next time.